Good evening and welcome out to tonight's tackle trading onboarding webinar. This is Coach Frank. I will be taking you through the tackle trading website this evening, showing you around a little bit, letting you know what we're doing, when we're doing it, where you can find it, all of that fun stuff. So we'll dive right on in here tonight. Another exciting, hot summer month, right? It's August, but it's still really hot, at least where I'm at. I am currently in the trade center here at Tackle Trading, and this is kind of a what's up at Tackle Trading page. This is where you're going to find what's our next show, our more recent post, our most recent report, most recent tweet, a little watch list that you can build out for yourself, kind of a upcoming schedule for the next handful of days, a replay or a live showing of one of our YouTube YouTube webinars. Typically, that'll be the halftime report, but it might be this webinar. It might be our Wednesday night Trade Masters webinar. If you're taking any courses, it'll let you know where you left off, so you can pick right back up where you left off without having to dig around a little bit before picking back up. There's also a variety of different tools in here. There's also a link to tradingjustice.com. Every week, the guys over at Trading Justice put together the Trading Justice podcast. Coach Matt, Mark, and Tim. It's always a lot of fun. Definitely a very good listen. You can listen to that directly over at tradingjustice.com, or you can catch it on any of your favorite podcast providers. There's also a really nice monthly newsletter that they do over at Trading Justice as well. Very much worth reading each and every month. There's a link to our market skyline. This is where you're going to find the major stuff, the charts for the major things. So that's going to include, the futures for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, Bitcoin, the major commodities, gold, silver, copper, crude, etc. The sector spider ETFs, XLB, XLE, XLK, just basically all the things that realistically as traders, as we're thinking about going through our daily routine and following with the markets, these are things that we're realistically going to need to be looking at. Whether you're looking at them at tackle trading or not, I hope that you are looking at them. I just wanted to get them all in one place, right? So it's easily, hey, maybe you just checking out the market for the first time this evening, just want a quick view of what happened today, right? Just an easy, fast way to do that. There is also a link right here to the FinViz S&P 500 heat map. So you can get that quick visual of what today looks like, what areas were in the green, what areas were in the red. It is defaulted to the one-day performance for the S&P, but there is quite a bit of customization that you can do through this, whether you're looking at the week performance, the monthly performance, the yearly, the quarterly, certain fundamental ratios. So just a nice visual way. Can't make trades this way, right? But we can kind of get a visual, say that a lot of things close up in the green today, but not energy, right? As a whole, that space really just didn't really fully recover from this morning. So that is just going to be in this open heat maps here. There's a link to a news aggregator. This is just going to go through some of the major financial sites, CNBC, Wall Street Journal, the Times. Usually there's a market watch in here as well, and just kind of get the headlines for us, right? And get them in an easy to process manner. I can kind of scroll through and just, if something catches my attention, I can click on it and read the story. Really designed to save us some clicks, bouncing around a lot, going to all these different sites, right? So got a news aggregator, got a link to the economic calendar so we can know what's on the schedule for today or for the week that might impact our trading. A link to our market reports, which we'll come back to and talk about them. You'll also find them up here. We'll come back and talk to them here shortly. A link to the compounding gains calculator, a chart if you ever need one, our trading glossary, our search function, which can also find the search function in this little magnifying glass. You can find the trading glossary on the drop down of the trade center as well. You will also find a link to our trade journals in here. Again, you will find a link to the trade journals on the drop down as well. Right on the drop down, you'll find it. I've always liked to come into it this way simply because I like going directly to the tutorial page. And that's what I've done here by coming through the Trade Center to get to these trading journals. Journaling our trades is an important part of it, right? Each and every trade that we make is data. If we let it be, we need to be able to recognize patterns and themes and what's working and what's not. We can download the trade journal down here. It looks like this is, I think, on my computer thing, but I'll have to double check, make sure that that's not true. Typically, we can download them right through here. You also have our theta research tool and our portfolio journal. I think this is my computer being a grump, but I will have to double check on that. Either in the trade journals in the trade center or over here on the drop down, you'll find the trade journals as well. So that's kind of the trade center, if you will. Let's kind of come back and talk a little bit about the things that are in it. We already mentioned the glossary, talked a little bit about journals. Our events calendar is probably the easiest way to, kind of as you're getting to know us or trying to get into a particular show. In the events calendar, we'll have everything set up. The links for the show will be directly in there. We'll probably circle back to this event calendar before we're done here today, but it's very helpful and a very easy way to get into anything that you're looking for. You will also find the Tackle Trading Playbook here in the Trade Center. This is where you're going to have all of our strategies and the rules for those strategies. We break our strategies into three areas based off of the option Greeks: Delta, Theta, and Vega. Our Delta strategies are our directional strategies. So that's going to be, long stock. That's going to be buying calls and puts. That's going to be bull call spreads, bear put spreads, calendar spreads. Basically, Delta is direction or movement. I think the stock's going to go from 47 to 52. I'd like to build a strategy to match that vision, right? Then we have our Theta or our cash flow side of things. This is where we're selling the options and bringing in the premium. That's going to be covered calls where we own 100 shares of the stock and are selling calls against it, naked puts, credit spreads, iron condors, basically anything that we're looking to sell and take advantage of the one guarantee in the market, and that's that today will pass, right? Every day is going to pass one way or the other. And that's what's so cool about options is they give us the ability to not only buy them, but we can also sell them and bring in that premium. Then you're going to have the Vega or the Volatility Playbook. This is where I'm expecting movement based off of the volatility, right? We're coming out of an earnings season right now, but I always think earnings season when I'm thinking about volatility plays. Maybe, company XYZ, I expect it to move a lot on earnings. I can't know which way. I might think it's going to have a good earnings report and go up, but I can never know that, right? So, but I can maybe based off of the stock's history, make a trade to bet that the volatility will be high, or maybe the market's pricing in high volatility, but the history of the stock does not back that up. So these are going to be based off of the volatility of the stock and not the direction or the time. So that's the way we're going to break the strategies. And each of these will have a video going over, what the strategy is, why we would choose it, what our rules for the strategy are. We'll be building out an example. We will be using the Thinkorswim platform if you are using them as well and need some help on the order entry side of things, kind of the whole 9 yards in the video. There is a little, downloadable PDF cheat sheet, so you have easy access to the rules for each of these strategies. You will also notice that there's always something between a 0 and a plus or a -2. And this is just, if you kind of think about it as a spectrum, 0 being flat neutral, plus or -1 being slightly bullish or slightly bearish, 2 or -2 being, bullish or bearish, and then 3 or -3 being very bullish or bearish. And, those are my words. That's how I think about it. We always want to match the strategy to the situation, right? Or our read of the situation, at least. So, if I'm seeing a stock break out and I expect it's going to have big movement, I'm probably going to want to build a trade that's a +2 or a +3 to capture that movement. Your read of that situation, or maybe it's a lower volatility stock, or maybe just got a nice trending stock that doesn't tend to have wild swings. They expect that it's going to continue its downtrend, but don't necessarily think it's going to be a wild ride. Maybe doing something that was a little more in the -1 to the -2 category would make some sense. So that's what you're seeing here, and that's kind of where we view these strategies along that spectrum. So that is the Tackle Trading Playbook. Again, you'll find that here in the Trade Center. Beyond the Trade Center, we do have courses available to all of our pro members, our 7-step guide to trading, Is I say it's kind of an introduction to the tackle trading way. I mean, there's a lot of us here at tackle trading, and you can never get two traders to agree on everything, right? Every trader is unique, and that's perfectly fine, and it's cool. But I do think we kind of share a fundamental view of approaching the markets as a team here at Tackle Trading. We are big believers in taking that top-down approach, starting at the top of the market, working down through the market, through the sectors, the industries, right? Choosing our strategies to match the situation, finding our trades and building our watch list, planning those so we're ready to take action if we get the signals that we're looking for. Of course, placing and managing the trade as well as journaling the trade. This will kind of give you an idea of kind of the tackle trading approach to the markets, if you will. If you're a veteran trader, been trading for a while, you probably have a pretty good routine down already, I would imagine, but maybe there's a couple of things in there that can make your routine a little bit better. If you're newer to the market and really struggling kind of on that, consistent routine side of things, I think you'll find this very, very helpful to at least give you a blueprint to get going down that road. That, routines are definitely important in life, and certainly when it comes to trading is no different. You will find our technical analysis 101 course. As traders, charting is very important to us, right? That's, how we're determining when we're doing things, where our stops are going, where our targets are, right? All of that fun stuff. And that's true whether you're a day trader, a swing trader, a cash flow trader, trading cryptos on a 1 minute chart, whatever it might be. We are all using technical analysis as traders. So the better we are at that, the better I think everything else in life is going to be. So we're talking lots of charts in that technical analysis 101. Over in the options 101 course, we're going to talk a lot about the contract and the factors that are moving that option contract. Our strategies, they're going to be over in the playbook as we saw. But we're going to talk about, what happens when you buy or sell that call option. How does time impact it? How does volatility impact it? How does movement impact it? Right? How do we check for liquidity? All of that fun stuff. The more we understand the option, the easier, I think, at least, those strategies are going to be for us, whichever strategy it might be. So if you, are newer to the options market, I would definitely start with the options 101 course. We do want to get to know those contracts and why they do the things that they do, if you will. If you've ever been interested in data or looking closer into either the futures market or the forex market, we have introduction to those markets as well. In many ways, they're going to be very similar to just the stock market, but in other ways, there's certainly some differences that we do need to be well aware of. It's been my experience that a lot of people shy away from futures or forex because they don't understand them. I don't care what anybody trades. I want people to be able to trade whatever the heck they want. I never want somebody to feel like they can't trade futures because it's too big for them, or anything like that. If they just don't like futures, that's fine with me. If they just like options, that's cool. No big deal. So if you've ever been interested in either or both of those markets, great place to start to learn a little bit more about what's going on over there and how those markets work. Regardless of what we're trading, what products we're trading, we all, I think, agree that we need clear rules that govern our actions. We want to be system-based traders. And I think pretty much everybody agrees with that at face value. It's one thing to agree with it, it's one thing to say it, and another thing to do it, right? And so our system development course is one I would highly suggest to anybody, regardless of the markets they trade and their experience level, because we just need to train ourselves to come at our trading from a systematic perspective. A lot of us need to train that way. Some people are born that way. Good for them. I certainly wasn't. This course will help train you to become a systems-based trader. It's a fantastic course, and I would definitely encourage everybody to go through it. Beyond our courses to our pro members, we do have a handful of premium systems available here at Tackle Trading. Kind of what these are, it's kind of a one-time purchase. The system is yours for life. Every month we get together with members of that team in a mastermind group. Just to quickly let you know what they are, the Tackle 25 is a covered call-based system on a select group of stocks that we put together each year with kind of the mindset of, hey, let's take advantage of selling calls against these, right? So it's really a covered call-based system. Our step system is our swing trading philosophy, just standing for stop loss, target, entry, and position size. Cash flow condors is another cash flow system this time on the Russell 2000 through selling credit spreads. bear market survival guide, kind of protecting our long-term portfolio from eventual turns to bearish markets, and then dealing with those bearish markets once we get into them, right? Kind of, no surprises there, kind of what the name sounds like, right? If you want a little more information on any of these premium systems, you can find that over in the store. You're more than welcome to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. We can get you some more information on any of those if you would like. We're going to do regular blog content, whether it's more charting over in Tales of a Technician, kind of taking concepts, from the ground up, so to speak, with Coach Greg over in the Rookie Corner, more on options in the Option Theory blog, hearing from our awesome female team members in the Women in Trading blog. These are going to be relatively short reads. You're probably looking at 5-ish minutes, depending on how fast you read, probably. But another way that we can share ideas. And with our team, not everything has to be a big course or a 1-hour webinar or anything like that. This stuff's all going to be pretty regular as well. Let's talk a little bit about kind of what the schedule looks like, the day-to-day, the week-to-week schedule. So we'll hop over here into the shows tab. Let's kind of start here with our trading lab. This is a relatively new product, just launched about a month ago. We have 3 different trading labs with Coach Emily, Coach Mark, and Coach Tyler. Basically, they'll get together once a week in there, in kind of a power hour, if you will. They'll stay connected throughout the week in their own private Discord channels. If you would like more information on the trading labs, again, you can head over to the store or feel free to send us an email to team@tackletrading.com. They are a new premium product offer that we have put out. But for our pro members, got plenty of things to keep them busy. Let's start with our Traders Lounge. Each market morning at 11 Eastern, so pretty much Monday through Friday, right? I mean, you're going to have a few holidays here and there, but effectively Monday through Friday, but more accurately, every market morning. 11 Eastern, we're going to get together for an hour in our Traders Lounge. Every member of our community is welcome in there. It's a place very specifically designed for you to ask your questions live and in person and get the help that you need. Whether that's maybe you got, struggling with a particular option strategy, maybe you're struggling with the management side of things, maybe you've got a trade set up that you'd like to get some eyeballs on and get some different opinions on. Maybe you're struggling with routine or how to add insurance to your portfolio. I mean, there's a million questions that we can all have, and we'll all have some questions, right? And we need a place where we can address those live. And that is our Traders Lounge. Every question is welcome in there. There's no limit on how often you can come hang out. Be more than welcome and take advantage of that. This is going to be one of those shows that we don't really record regularly, but we will record snippets of the show and get it posted in here. So, sometimes there's conversations that we have that just would make just as much sense a year from now as they do today, right? And so it's not a big deal for us to do that. If your schedule just never lets you get into the lounge because you're at work at 11 Eastern, Monday through Friday, but you have a question, need some help, send us an email, reach out to one of us, let us know. We're more than happy to record it, get it posted in here for you. We'll always do our best to accommodate our team members. So that's going to be the lounge each market morning at 11 Eastern. Then shortly after the lounge at 12:30, we head over to our YouTube channel where we're going to do the halftime report. Live looking at the market, taking that top-down approach. So we'll take a look at the indexes, the S&P, the Dow, the RUD, the NASDAQ, talk to sectors, talk to different components of the market, be it gold, Bitcoin, oil, all right, talk stocks in the news, a lot of fun, just to really go through that daily routine, right? To stay on top of the market. I always say the market's like a soap opera in the sense that if you just keep tuning in, you kind of are always pretty comfortable with where it is, right? If you are looking at it here and there, it can feel like, wow, it looks a lot different than it did when I looked at it last time. So maybe that's just how I view the market. But that's our halftime report. It is live on YouTube. Of course, being on YouTube, once the live stream is over, it will directly populate over to our YouTube channel. So every market day, we will be with our team, be it in the lounge here at Tackle Trading at 11 or over on our YouTube channel at 12:30 for the halftime report, working the markets with our team members. Then our evening shows on Monday night, we do our onboarding webinar, just taking anybody new to Tackle Trading or maybe checking us out for the first time, just letting them know what we're about and kind of showing them around a little bit. On Tuesdays, we do what I would consider our flagship show, and that's our coaches show live at 8:30 Eastern on Tuesdays. We're a couple days into the market. It's now Tuesday night, right? So we're going to take a quick look at the market skyline. We're going to, hey, what's standing out, from a sector or an industry perspective. So we're going to talk markets. But what I really like about the Coaches Show is it really allows us to take one of the many concepts in trading, and there's a lot, right? I mean, whether it's strategy based, technical patterns, indicators, entries. I mean, a million things that we could talk about. What it's going to do is allow us to really, hone in on something that's applicable to today's market and have an in-depth discussion on that one thing. It's a lot of fun. It's very informative. It is live on Tuesdays at 8:30 Eastern. It is recorded and archived. So if you can't make it live, or if you need to revisit a portion of it, or whatever the case might be, want to watch one from a year ago, you can always go in and do that. That's the Coaches Show on Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern. On Thursday nights, once again at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, we do our Cash Flow Club. Much like the Coaches Show, it's going to be recorded and archived. Our Cash Flow Club is going to be a little bit more narrowly focused, as its name would probably suggest, on building and managing those cash flow strategies, right? Managing those covered calls, building those iron condors, etc. It's one thing that I think we all learn when it comes to trading is learning how to do the covered call isn't the hard part, right? If you don't know how to do a covered call yet, it's just a matter of time until you know how to do a covered call. The management is where a lot of the work is really going to come in. So we're going to talk a lot about those type of things over in that Cash Flow Club each Thursday night at 8:30 Eastern. Our Mind of a Trader is actually two different shows. So I'm going to come back over into our events calendar as we talk about this one. On Fridays at 3 Eastern, an hour before the market closes, Coach Mark does his At the Closing Bell, his Mind of a Trader at the Closing Bell. It's just winding down the week, right? Talking last minute decisions with members of the team. He presents his commodity report live to our team over there. He does that for us. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few. Answers any questions that any folks might be having. Just a nice, fun and easy way to kind of end the trading week. Ask any questions, bounce any ideas around with the team. That's again 3 Eastern, an hour before the market closes at the end of the week, again, typically on Fridays. And then we also have a Mind of a Trader weekend prep course on Sunday nights at 8:30 Eastern. We're a couple of hours, a few hours into the futures open, right? So we can kind of talk about based off of kind of what we're seeing there. What are we looking at going into the early part of the week? Again, can ask any questions and have any discussions that we need to in there. So that's the Sunday night weekend prep course. That one is, again, that's going to be almost always on Sunday. But if we get one of those Monday holidays, right, and get the 3-day weekend, that typically will move to Monday. But again, those are fairly rare as far as that goes. So that's our Mind of a Trader. On Wednesday night, we're actually doing two different things here at Tackle Trading. Over here on our YouTube at 7 Eastern, we do our Trade Masters webinar. A couple of the coaches will bring a few trade ideas to bounce off with one another, share with the team. Coach Mark will host it, and at the end of it, declare a winner based off of the trade ideas. Really, it's just a fun way to be able to kind of beef up that midweek watch list, talk ideas, and setups with the team. Then shortly after the Trade Masters webinar at 7, we head back over here at Tackle Trading to our Wednesday night lounge, 8:30 Eastern time. We'll talk about if we need to go in any more detail on any of the trade ideas that were discussed in the YouTube show, we'll talk about it. We also can just answer any questions, outside of that our team that might be having. So just another way where we can hang out with the team, answer questions, bounce ideas around with one another. So that is on Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern time. We are pretty regimented, where, unless there's weird holidays, which sometimes get us all right. But as a general rule, you can expect that we are going to be pretty consistent in, Tuesday nights is the Coaches Show. Wednesday night, we always do the Trade Masters webinar. Thursday night's always the Cash Flow Club, etc. So we are going to be pretty consistent in when we're doing these shows, barring the holidays that sometimes kind of get in the way, but there's not a ton of those. So that's going to be what the schedule looks like. We also, about once a month, Coach Emily and the awesome Women in Trading gals get together in their Women in Trading mastermind group. I don't get to go. but I have no doubt that a lot of good work's getting done in there and folks are having a good time. It tends to be towards the end of the month. We'll always make sure to be promoting it and highlighting it as we get closer to the event. If you're a woman in trading, or if know a woman in trading, I would strongly encourage you to hook up with the gals over there. Great people, great traders. I'm sure there's a lot of fun and a lot of learning going on in there. Fellas like myself, you'll have to find something else to do that night, but that's all right, right? So that's going to be what the schedule looks like. Each and every day, each and every week, we'll keep you pretty busy, and we'll be here in a variety of ways to be helping our team, whatever that might necessarily need to mean, each and every day. On Fridays, as the market's winding down, we're all getting together as a group of coaches here in what we call our scouting report meeting. We're talking markets, we're talking sectors, we're talking commodities, we're talking currencies, we're talking about trade setups that we're individually monitoring or eyeballing going into the upcoming week. And out of that scouting report meeting comes our weekend reports, our tackle newsletter, our stock report, options report, commodity report, forex report. We'll get these all delivered to our team by Saturday afternoon, so they have plenty of time to go through any or all of the reports before the market gets going again. Our newsletter is kind of step one of that 7-step guide to trading, right? That's kind of starting at the top of the market. So in the newsletter, we're going to kind of talk a little bit about kind of what's the storylines, what's the mood of the market, what's going on in the market, right? What's happening in the market right now. We'll talk about that. We'll highlight the economic calendar. Hey, is there anything that we might want to keep an eyeball out for? Of course, we'll always have a video talking you through this stuff, where the different indexes are and kind of our view of them from a technical point of view, the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the Russell, right? The Arkham High Low indicator, Coach Gino's indicator, that's just going to look at the internals of the market. And it looks at over 8,000 stocks to kind of see, are we seeing new highs being developed, new lows being developed, right? If the majority of things are making new highs, the market's probably pretty bullish, right? Oversimplification way to put it, but I think it makes sense. So kind of let you know kind of where the internals of the market are looking. A peek at the seasonality chart, right? From a historical point of view, what tends to happen this time of the year in the broad market. It's historical data, right? So on the one hand, we don't want to overvalue it, because just because the market historically tends to be strong in the fourth quarter doesn't mean it's going to be again this fourth quarter, right? But it is historical data, right? There's a reason that is what the history suggests, right? And so we can use it, so when we're in the summertime, I never expect dramatic, craziness, right? I always kind of expect the summer to kind of be a little choppy, back and forthy, grindy, if you will. It doesn't always work out that way, right? But historically, that's kind of what it tends to do, right? And just like historically, the market tends to be pretty strong to close the year in that fourth quarter. So, we don't want to overvalue it, but it's certainly important information. What sectors tend to do the best historically or relatively each month, right? So hanging out in the month of August, technology and utilities, relatively speaking, have been the strongest from a historical point of view, whereas financials and materials have lagged behind, right? Again, just from a historical perspective, each week we're going to rank the sectors based off of what we're seeing on the companies within those spaces, right? We're ranking them based off of the sector spider ETFs. And so, we're looking at not just the ETF, but we're looking at the companies that build up those S&P 500 ETFs, right? To rank these different areas each week. We're going to break it down into 3 areas. We've got our defensive areas. That's going to be healthcare, real estate, utilities, and consumer staples. Our cyclical areas, that's our energy, industrial, materials, and finance. And our growth areas, our tech, our comms, our discretionary, right, as well as the overall broad S&P 500. So we'll be ranking these each week based off of what we're seeing. As you can kind of see here, we kind of have a football field approach to it, right? And so, between the 40s, so to speak, is going to be, pretty darn neutral, right? We're not particularly aggressive. It's going to be very rare, if ever. You never want to say never, but it's going to be super unlikely that you ever see us rank technology at +3 or whatever, right? We're just not that aggressive. on the sector as a whole. An individual stock, sure. Sometimes I'm a +3, right? I'd be a +4 if there was one. So, but it's really hard to say the same about sectors or broad markets as a whole or anything like that. So, we're typically going to be, think about it like football. All right, we're going to be moving, each and every week based off of what we're seeing. And again, we can kind of talk you through the thought process as we're going through that video. This is going to be a visual, but again, if you think about things as a story and following along a little bit, it will start to make more and more sense. So we'll be ranking the sectors and talking you through kind of where we landed in that video. There is the ETFs if you need them. These are the sector spider ETFs. If you're not familiar with them, they go to the S&P 500. They pull out stocks by sector. So XLV, for example, is healthcare. XLE is energy, etc. It'll pull out just the stocks in that area, just these energy stocks in the S&P, and put them into their own portfolio. And that's what we're looking at here. They are weighted just like the S&P 500 is, to way for us to kind of broadly track the different sectors. If you want more information about those sector spiders, the website provider is just www.sectorspdr.com. And that's where you can get a little more information about the actual building of those ETFs if you need to. But all of the symbols will be in here. They are weighted by market cap, right? And so it's helpful to understand exactly what that means. There's going to be a little write up here kind of talking you through that side of things, but you'll get lots of information directly on the ETF provider's website. Another friendly reminder to match the strategy to the situation, right? If you think this thing's going to slowly, march up for the quarter, should we really be buying a 2-month call? Probably not, right? Because that's not really lining it up, right? We want to match the strategy to the situation. There's going to be a pre-built scanner in here as well. So if a particular sector has caught your eyes, you're going through your routine and you want to take a closer look at some stocks within that space, let's say energy or industrial caught your attention for whatever reason here today, this will bring you to a pre-built FinViz scan. If I'm just going to smack the chart buttons here, and that's going to get me all the charts. These are what I call trader-friendly stocks. And all I mean when I say trader-friendly is they've got great liquidity, so it's super easy to trade shares. They're optionable. Of course, just because something's optional doesn't mean its options are particularly liquid. So we do need to always want to make it a habit to go and double check and make sure we're comfortable with that. I would say as a whole, most of the things in here are fairly option friendly, but certainly not all of them. And so, always check that liquidity on those options. You never want to get stuck in an illiquid option. If you've been stuck in one, I don't need to tell you that, right? So, but whether it's through shares or through an option strategy, if something in here catches my attention, I'm going to be able to figure out something. I'm going to be able to figure out some way to trade it. And as you can kind of see here, it's just going to kind of side by side, these charts give us kind of that bird's eye view so we can kind of take a look. And maybe you like the, maybe potential breakout over on Honeywell, right? Or maybe you like this little 3-day, 4-day pullback that's going on Caterpillar, right? So obviously, I don't think we could make a trade off of these things. I wouldn't even want to think about trying it. But I can kind of see, that's kind of interesting. I'm kind of interested in taking a closer look at that cap pullback, right? I'm kind of interested in 3M, maybe trying to break out of this little top that is put together. So I've got already some ideas to go in and take a closer look at in an actual charting platform to see if maybe there's something there worth thinking a little bit more about. So just an easy way to quickly navigate a whole bunch of charts, get some ideas, and then go do some real technical analysis, if you will. So we'll have that built up for each of the different sectors. So that's going to be the newsletter, really just kind of following along, going with the market, right? It's so much easier when you're going with the flow. Then we're going to have our different reports. Coach Cody typically does our Forex report for us, where he'll kind of highlight the major pairs, kind of where they're at technically, talk about upcoming news events that might have an impact on those pairs. Does a lot of teaching over in the Forex report as well. He's helped a lot of our team members get involved in the Forex market. Great way to be able to learn. I honestly think if you just spent 20 minutes a week watching the Forex report, all of a sudden 3-4 months from now you'd have a pretty good idea what's going on in the world of Forex without actually ever really thinking too hard about it. He does a great job teaching folks about Forex each week. As I mentioned earlier, Coach Mark does our commodity report for us. He'll talk about the fundamentals, the technicals, and kind of the storylines that are going on in the world of commodities, where it's gold or, crude or, copper, whatever the case might be. He's a big cash flow trader. And, a lot of those commodity plays can be very interesting cash flow trades. Even if you don't trade in the futures market, there's going to be a lot of things that you can do through the equities market to take advantage of things, such as, gold ETFs, right? Energy stocks, proxies like FCX, kind of a proxy for copper. So there's going to be a lot of ways that we can take advantage of movement or lack thereof movement in the world of commodities. Even if we don't want to trade over in the futures, it's definitely worth listening in to Mark's commodity report each week. Our stock and option report are going to be built fairly similar to one another as far as how we're building them. Of course, things in the stock report are more likely to be stock trades, whereas things in the option report maybe a little more likely to be option trades, right? But we're going to build a technical watch list in each of them each week, right? Potential bullish trade setups as well as some potential bearish trade setups. We're definitely watch list traders over here at Tackle Trading. So we'll share our watch list candidates with the team each week. We're always going to, try to have both bullish and bearish setups, no matter what the market's doing, because you never know what the future holds, right? Sometimes it can be a little tougher than others to find some bears these days, but not always, right? There's always somebody out there. That's for sure, where we can share our watch list. In the stock report, we're going to be able to focus a little bit more on the technicals, right? In the options report, while the technicals are every bit as important, when in the options report, we're going to talk a little bit more about strategy selection, right? And maybe why would I choose to do a bull call instead of a bull put in this scenario type of thing, right? So we're going to, that's going to be really their big difference, because technically we're looking for the same type of trade setups. That's not to say you couldn't trade something with options if you found it in the stock report, although again, always make sure to check that liquidity. Sometimes the reason it is in the stock report instead of the option report is just the option liquidity is not there. And at least we wouldn't feel comfortable trading it. And that might be the only reason it's in the stock report instead of the options report, right? That might not, it might be the price of the stock. It might be the personality of the stock, whatever. But there's always a good chance it's because the option liquidity isn't great as well. Conversely, over in the option report, if you find a setup that you like, but you don't trade options, I mean, you can always trade shares of things over in the options report if that's the route that you want to go. In addition to our watch list, we'll always take a little bit of time to do a little bit of teaching. This week in the stock report, Coach Greg talked a little bit about playing reversals. Over in the option report, Coach Tyler talked a little bit about building poor boy covered calls and kind of, management ideas for those. So in addition to sharing the watch list, we'll definitely take a little opportunity to do a little bit of sharing, sharing ideas and teaching as well. We do build, and you've seen them a few times. We, have built in these trading view charts here. A couple of things just so you kind of have an idea of better how to use these. The widget right here, this is going to hide the watch list, so you have a little more chart to work with. If you smack it again, it's going to come back, right? So that just gets you a little bit more chart. It is defaulted to a 1-day candlestick chart. For swing traders, that's pretty standard these days. But if for whatever reason you prefer bar charts, you can switch over to that. If for whatever reason you prefer 4-hour charts, you can switch over to that, right? So there's a little bit of flexibility as far as time frame goes, whether it's shorter term intraday, 1, 3, 5, 15, 30, 45, hourly, weekly, monthly. So you can kind of get it set up the way that you'd like to from a time perspective. Let's go back to the daily chart here. As you can kind of see, this just a little breakout candidate here on these guys, right? If we want to add any indicators, they're going to be right up here. Do note that if I go and add something, I always add the ATR, the average true range, just a habit. It's not going to save. I leave this page, I come back later, the ATR is not there anymore. No big deal. But if you're adding 5 or 6 indicators, it might be, right? So do be aware that these indicators or any lines or anything like that you draw, they are not going to save. If I want to, make this bigger or smaller, I don't need this ATR to be this huge indicator on my chart here. Just left click on the kind of barrier between the volume and the indicator, and you can drag it down or drag it up if you need to. So we can kind of get that comfortably sized the way we want to. You can scroll up to do what I'm doing here, kind of get closer and closer, zoom down, and you can kind of zoom back and get a further look at the stock, right? So you can kind of get it set up the way you want to. If you hold your left mouse button down in the body of the chart, you can do this, scroll it back and forth. If you do the same thing, left mouse over in the dollars over here on the side, we can zoom it up, we can zoom it down. So you can get it sized the way that you like. And I think for most of us, I know for me, it's got to be sized right, or it's hard for me to do my work. So maybe that's just a me thing. So there's your indicators, a lot of maneuverability. Your trend line tool is going to be right here. This is where you can have your trend line. So this is, bullish breakout, right? If there's a high base developed, so that would be applicable in this case. But certainly there are going to be cases where we might want to, draw a trend line as well, right? So whether it's horizontal or an actual trend line, that tool will let you do that. If you don't need it, you can just, left click it and hit that trash bin. It'll get rid of it for you there. A lot of other things in here, but the one thing that's really helpful and really, really has saved me a lot of time over the years is in here. This is where you're going to find your short and your long position, right? So my long position, for example, this is a bullish breakout. Maybe I'm not going to get too crazy here, just to kind of give us an example, but maybe I want to come in just above today's high. We'll call that 74.62. That's where I'd like to get into it. I'm going to put my stop loss just a little bit below today's low, whatever my rule is on there. And I've got a target in mind of $76, right? So maybe that's where my head's at with this thing, right? And that's going to let me know what my risk to reward looks like, right? So for every dollar I'm risking, I have $1.22 in potential profits. Probably fine if 76 is my first target. Probably not fine if 76 is my primary target, right? Because most traders, certainly me, and then this is very common too, is we ask for at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. If I'm risking $1, I have to have expectations of getting 2 back, right? That's going to keep me ahead of the game. So, if that's, 76 is as far as I'm comfortable going, well, I'm probably going to pass on this trade, or at least as it's constructed right now, because the risk reward is just not there. Now, maybe you say, yeah, well, Frank, that's fine. I see where your head's at with 76, but that's kind of a first target. I think we can be working up into this 77 for our second target, risk, about $2.12 for every dollar that we're risking. Certainly that's going to fit right into it. Right. So you can build out the trade, see what the risk reward looks like. Maybe when we started this, we wanted to put our stop loss, had we had this conversation yesterday, for example, maybe we wanted to put our stop loss below this little low that we put in here a little bit back. We got that 76 by 77 target price in mind, and we can kind of see what that looks like, right? So $2.16. So it's really, really helpful. It saved me a tremendous amount of time over the years as far as, figuring out risk reward, position size, all of that fun thing. So you just hit the trash button there, get rid of it. It's got the same thing for the short side as well. So if we're looking at something on the bearish side of things, can build it the same way. Very, very helpful little tool as far as that goes. You don't have to like any of these setups each week. You probably will like some more than others. I think that's pretty normal. You might prefer high base breakouts, right? You might prefer reversals. You might prefer, retracement candidates, or, triangles, or whatever your preferences might be. But we do want to make sure that, we're scanning the market every week. I can only speak for myself, but I scan through about 1,000 stocks every Friday. I want to make sure folks have good, vetted quality technical candidates. And we as a team want that. And that's what we're doing here with our report. So it's not about what you trade. If you don't want to trade them, that's your business. No one has any right to tell you what to trade or not to trade, as far as I'm concerned. But we can definitely share ideas and setups with the team. So that's going to be the stock report. Option report built very, very similar, just a little bit more from an options point of view, but the technicals always matter, right? Doesn't matter what vehicle you're trading. Again, you can expect all of these reports to get delivered to you by Saturday afternoon. So you do have plenty of time to go through all of them, or the few that you're using, before the market opens back up. Don't be afraid to prioritize. I tell people all the time, in a lot of ways you build your own tackle trading. If you are primarily a cash flow trader, you're probably prioritizing the newsletter, the option report, the commodity report, right? If you're a cash flow trader selling a lot of naked puts, a lot of credit spreads, a lot of covered calls, because those are areas that you're probably doing that stuff in, right? If you're primarily a Forex trader, you're probably starting with the Forex report each week, right? If you're a directional trader like myself, you tend to lean a little bit more towards the setups over in the stock and the option report. There's not a wrong way to do this, right? It's okay that I like what I like best, right? That doesn't mean the others aren't worth checking out, but it's perfectly reasonable to have a priority system in place. That the same can go with the shows and the weekly stuff that we're doing, right? We'll keep you very busy, and we certainly invite you to join us to all of our live stuff, but we don't expect it of you, right? We love to have you, and we have team members that I see no matter what show it is, they're in there, and that's awesome. But not everybody has that has the luxury of doing that, and so don't be afraid to prioritize a little bit. We don't want to don't want to we want to over deliver but not overwhelm, right? Always that fine line to walk. A couple things before we wrap up here. We do the Huddle podcast each day. It's just a quick podcast talking about the top 5 stories in the market. I'm just going to smack it here really quick. You can also listen to it on any of the different podcast providers. I just do it over here because I'm not really a podcast guy. Much like the Trading Justice podcast, I just listen to it on their site. But it'll just kind of talk about the top 5 stories of the day to give you a quick rundown. What's the big stuff moving the market right now in an unbiased manner? So that's the Huddle that you're finding right here. Our tackle today is our daily email that we send off each morning. If you would like it, you can sign up for it in here. As you can see, it'll also be posted in here. So if you just prefer to read it over here, you can do that. It will be delivered, to your inbox a little faster than it will be posted over here. But either way is fine, at least as far as I'm concerned. Just a quick write-up going into each trading day. Our reports, again, we talked about those. Our clubhouse is kind of like our own personal social media. Really, it's a place where if you have some questions, if you're looking for something, if you want to bounce ideas around, where you can just easily connect with other members of Team Tackle and be able to do just that. Certainly invite you to join our clubhouse. It's just trading. It's just us, right? But it's always nice to be able to have a place where we can do that type of stuff. We're also active on the more traditional social media platforms. Of course, we've got an Instagram and a LinkedIn. Over our YouTube channel is, we're doing our halftime report every day, our Trade Masters webinar on Wednesday night. But we've got a lot of other videos and content over there, a lot of how-tos, a lot of walkthroughs, an entire playlist on Thinkorswim tutorials. And we're always looking to add more. So we'll, certainly a lot of stuff over on the YouTube channel, and invite you to join us over there and, do the subscribe and notification thing. Got a Facebook presence. I'm not a Facebook guy, but we do have our own Tackle Trading Facebook group. If you're a Facebook user, just another way to connect with members of the team and bounce ideas around with one another. I'm more of a Twitter dude myself. So we've got Twitter presence, can share any interesting charts, stuff that's going on here at Tackle Trading, upcoming earnings, big movers. It's another way to be able to engage with members of the team. When it comes to social media, I'm not a big social media guy myself, but I like Twitter, and it's a fun way to be able to connect with members of the team. I just invite you, if you're using the platform anyway, I invite you to join us. It's certainly be a pleasure to have you hanging out with us in a variety of different ways. If you ever need anything, if you're lost, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if something's not working, anything like that, never hesitate. Send us an email, team@tackletrading.com. We're here to help. That's our job. We're more than happy to do it. So never hesitate to reach out. And there's a lot of ways to reach out. And from pretty much all of us, there are going to be times where we do need to reach out for one reason or another, right? Everyone has to do their own trading. I can't do your trading for you any more than you can do mine for me. But we can absolutely be there for each other, right? If I've got a good looking trade set up, I'm not going to, hide it and not show you. I'm happy to share it with you. And maybe you think it's great. Maybe you don't. That's cool. I'm not going to be mad either way. I'm happy to share my ideas. If you're struggling with the strategy, that's something I'm comfortable with, I'm happy to help you with. Maybe I'm not comfortable with it, but maybe I know somebody who is, right? We are here as a community and as a team to have each other's back. And so never hesitate to reach out, whether that's sending us an email, hitting me up on Twitter, popping in the clubhouse, asking in the lounge. There's a lot of ways to do it and do it. Don't don't dig in and struggle on your own. You've got a whole team behind you. Everybody here is on the same page. We want to see each other succeed in the market, right? You succeeding in the market doesn't hurt me at all. I want you to have great success in the market, whether you're a member of Team Tackle or not. I want you to have great success in the market. So, never hesitate to lean on your team if you need them. That's what we are here for. Ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for this evening. But I do thank you very much for your time. And I hope it gave you a better idea of kind of what's going on over here at Tackle Trading. I mean, at the end of the day, to me at least, it really is just a place where a bunch of traders can come together to help each other out, to share ideas, share what's working. Maybe I don't know how to do this strategy, but you do. You can show me how to do it, right? It's just a community of traders. At the end of the day, that's, the big thing for me. Yeah, it's cool that we've got a lot of this and a lot of that, right? I mean, that's definitely good stuff, but it really is the community that I think is the biggest selling point of Tackle Trading. I love being part of the team. I love getting to know our team members. Some of them I know better than some of my real life friends, and that's cool. I consider folks around here my friends. I have had a chance to meet some of them in person, and hope to have chances to meet even more of them somewhere down the road. So I thank you so much for checking us out. If you're just joining us, welcome to Team Tackle. It is awesome to have you. If you're just checking us out, seeing what we're all about, thank you as well. We do have a standing offer of a 15-day free trial. You'll find it in the description of any of our YouTube videos, to come to see what we're doing on the back end. No stress. Check us out for a couple of weeks, see if it's a good fit, and then hopefully you'll be Team Tackle after that. But thank you so much for your time, everybody. You have a wonderful rest of the week. Have a great Monday night. I will probably see you all again one way or another, whether it's in one of our shows or on YouTube, on Twitter, in the clubhouse, in an email, who knows. But I certainly look forward to getting to know you and welcome you to Team Tackle. With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Have a great night, and I will see